Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, or good afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're joining us from. Coach Kevin here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to go ahead and do is share my screen with you really quick here and point out a few things that'll be helpful to you. First of all, what I'd like to point out is we have a Facebook group that coincides with this meetup, and it has the same name. I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. We invite you to come join us. Just go into your own Facebook profile, look for where it says search Facebook, and type in I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it, and you'll be able to find our group. Just come ask to join us, and we'll be happy to have you. The other way to find us is you can go directly to facebook.com/groups/I want to be really rich, as if it's one word. Now, the reason you would want to come and join us, a few different reasons. Reason number one, if we have any special things to announce to the entire group, usually I'll have that pinned as the very first post. And then afterwards, what you will see mostly are the recordings of the Zoom meetings that we have. So if you happen to miss one, you can go look and say, oh, there's the date I wasn't able to be on there. I can go there and review that. So it gives you the opportunity to review it if you miss it. And just as importantly, if you attend a meeting, you really like it, and you're getting something out of it, you want to review it, gives you a chance to go back and review it too. It's also a place outside of the 45 minutes or so we have together each day, where if you have any questions related to the material we went over, you can put it into comments and we'll try and get back to you and get you an answer. All right. So just wanted to point that out. Hopefully that's helpful for everybody. The next thing I want to point out is what we're currently in the process of going through right now. We are in the process of going through a book. The author's name is Neville Goddard. This book is called The Power of Awareness. And hang on a second, my phone's making noises. There we go. All right, sorry about that. Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. I happen to have a Kindle copy. I have an Audible copy. Probably have a paperback copy lying around somewhere. I've read this book a few times, pretty recently, and it is wonderful. I went ahead and searched over on Google, put in the Power of Awareness PDF, and for me, one of the very first searches that came up was a copy that I liked, so I grabbed it. I found it, and it says right here, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard - the Law of, and it stops there on my laptop. Right above, it's www.law-of-attraction-haven.com. Then it says a few other things. Anyhow, I clicked on it, and what popped up for me, I'll show you here in a second, is this. So it actually brought me to the first page. We're on page 22 right now. We started this a few days ago, but this is what popped up for me, and then didn't have to put in name, email, or anything. So then what I did is I just went into my download function and downloaded it on the computer. You can go do the exact same thing on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your home computer, whatever it is that you use. And if you want to have the exact same copy we're going through, that's the way to go get it. So I just wanted to share with you how you could get it. Why are we going over this in the first place? Well, we've already gone over the science of getting rich, which gave us the formula for manifesting more money and wealth into our lives, the actual process to follow. Then we went through a book called Hidden Treasures by Leslie Householder. That book went into depth about the 7 laws that are out there that are important for us to understand, the universal laws that help us manifest more money and wealth in our lives. Then we went ahead and went into a Reader's Digest version of the Law of Attraction called It Works. Then we took an article by Bob Proctor called Decision and went through that. And then we went into Joseph Murphy's classic, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, because we not only have to understand how the universe works to manifest what we want, we also have to understand how we work, okay? And the laws out there are always working. They're not broken or anything. Law of attraction is a secondary law, subsidiary law to the law of vibration. It's never broken. You can't say the law of attraction doesn't work. No, the law of attraction always works. Just like gravity, it doesn't turn on and off based upon what we think or say. It's always working. What might not be working is our cooperation with the law, even though we're trying to. The reason is our subconscious mind will sabotage us if the programming in the subconscious mind is in opposition to what it is that we want. So we've learned how to deal with that. Now we're going into, and we've been here a few days, but now we're talking about who we are, not how our brain works and our mind works, but who we actually are, because we are truly unlimited beings, okay? We didn't just poof into existence, and we're not just going to poof out of existence. We have existed in some form, in some manner of intelligence, and we will continue to do so. And when you understand that you are actually a child of God, however you want to think of God, but when you understand that and you think about that, that parentage, that heritage means, if you think of God more as a parent, some of you don't, but I do. If you think of God as someone that's a guide, a director, a person, and I think of him as a person, I think of him as a person who's progressed way beyond what we have. And so he to us is God, okay? He knows all, he can do all, he has no issues making the laws work the way he wants to, because he doesn't fight with them, he works with them. So they always function perfectly for him, and he gets exactly what he wants. And I see God as someone who's trying to teach us how to do the same thing. And not that we will fully get there while we live on planet Earth, but at some point in our progression throughout eternity, I believe over time, how long it'll take, who knows, with God helping us, I think God's desire is to help us learn how to do what he knows how to do. And learning how to manifest what we want in life is a part of that journey for us, okay? So understanding who we are, that's why we're going through the power of awareness. As we become aware of who we are and what we're capable of, we then gain more confidence in our ability to manifest what it is we want in life. So I am going to, at this point, hop in. Now, if you guys go into chat and start messaging, I just want you to understand I don't pay any attention to it, okay? So I don't want you to be like, Kevin's ignoring me, or or whatever. Well, I am, okay? I'm ignoring everybody. What I'm doing is I'm going through a process with you. And so if you have something you need or want to ask, or a comment that you want to make to everybody, you can go ahead, and when the time is appropriate, we'll let you come off mute and share what it is you want to share, or ask whatever questions you want to ask. And we usually leave 10 or 15 minutes or so towards the end to do that. So I'm going to hop right in right now and get going with where we stopped yesterday in the power of awareness. If you don't have your own copy, you can follow along because you can see my screen. I do highly recommend, though, that you go get one for yourself. Okay, and I just showed you how to get one for free anyway, so it shouldn't be an issue for you. Chapter 9, preparing your place. And all mine are thine, and thine are mine. John 17:10. Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. All is yours. Do not go seeking for that which you are. Appropriate it, claim it, assume it. Everything depends upon the concept of yourself. That which you do not claim as true of yourself cannot be realized by you. The promise is, whosoever hath, to him it shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that which he seemeth to have. Hold fast in your imagination to all that is lovely and of good report. For the lovely and the good are essential in your life if it is to be worthwhile. Assume it. You do this by imagining that you already are what you want to be, and already have what you want to have. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Be still and know that you are that which you desire to be, and you will never have to search for it. Let me repeat that. Be still, okay? Be still and know that you are that which you desire to be. and you will never have to search for it. In spite of your appearance of freedom of action, you obey, as everything else does, the law of assumption. Whatever you may think of the question of free will, the truth is your experiences throughout your life are determined by your assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious. An assumption builds a bridge of incidents that lead inevitably to the fulfillment of itself. Let me repeat that. An assumption builds a bridge of incidents that lead inevitably to the fulfillment of itself. Man believes the future to be the natural development of the past, but the law of assumption clearly shows that this is not the case. Your assumption places you psychologically where you are not physically. Then your senses pull you back from where you were psychologically to where you are physically. It is these psychological forward motions that produce your physical forward motions in time. Precognition permeates all the scriptures of the world. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. If not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. And now I have told you before it came to pass, that when it comes to pass, you might believe. The I in this quotation is your imagination, which goes into the future, into one of many mansions. Mansion is the state desired. Telling of an event before it occurs physically is simply feeling yourself into the state desired until it has the tone of reality. You go and prepare a place for yourself by imagining yourself into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Then you speed from this state of the wish fulfilled, where you have not been physically, back to where you were physically a moment ago. Then, with an irresistible forward movement, you move forward across the series of events to the physical realization of your wish. That where you have been in imagination, there will ye be in the flesh also. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. Okay. Chapter 10, Creation. I am God, declaring the end from the beginning, and from the ancient times things that are not yet done. Creation is finished. Creativeness is only a deeper receptiveness for the entire contents of all time and space, while experienced in a time sequence, actually coexist in an infinite and eternal now. In other words, all that you have ever been or ever will be, in fact, all that mankind ever was or ever will be, exists now. This is what is meant by creation. And the statement that creation is finished means nothing is ever to be created. It is only to be manifested. What is called creativeness is only becoming aware of what already is. You simply become aware of increasing portions of that which already exists. Think about this for a second, pause here and just commentary. Was the ability to fly in an airplane, or whatever we chose to create, maybe we wouldn't have created an airplane, we might have created something else, but was the ability to fly an airplane available 1,000 years ago? Yes, it was. Were we aware of the ability to fly an airplane 1,000 years ago? No, we weren't. Did we create the ability to fly the airplane? No, we didn't. It already existed. Did we become aware of what we could do to fly an airplane? Yes, we did. The fact that you can never be anything that you are not already, or experience anything not already existing, explains the experience of having an acute feeling of having heard before what is being said, or having met before the person being met for the first time, or having seen before a place or thing being seen for the first time. I know some of you, not all of you necessarily, but some of you have dreamed things that happened according to your dream, right? You were able to receive that vibration and actually see it before it happened because it is already created. The whole of creation exists in you. It is your destiny to become increasingly aware of its infinite wonders and to experience even greater and grander portions of it. If creation is finished and all events are taking place now, the question that springs naturally to the mind is what determines your time track? That is, what determines the events which you encounter? And the answer is your concept of yourself. Concepts determine the route that attention follows. Here's a good test to prove this fact. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and observe the route that your attention follows. You'll observe that as long as you remain faithful to your assumption, so long will your attention be confronted with images clearly related to the assumption. For example, if you assume that you have a wonderful business, you will notice how your imagination, your attention is focused on incident after incident relating to that assumption. Friends congratulate you, tell you how lucky you are. Others are envious and critical. From there, your attention goes to larger offices, bigger bank balances, and many other similarly related events. Hold on. Oh, others are envious. Got it. Not that you're envious, others are envious. They're watching. Persistence in this assumption will result in actually experiencing, in fact, that which you assumed. The same is true regarding any concept. If your concept of yourself is that you are a failure, you would encounter in your imagination a whole series of incidents in conformance to that concept. Thus, it is clearly seen how you, by your concept of yourself, determine your present. That is, the particular portion of creation which you now experience, and your future, that is, the particular portion of creation which you will experience. Chapter 11, Interference. You are free to choose the concept you will accept of yourself. Therefore, you possess the power of intervention, the power which enables you to alter the course of your future. Let me repeat that, okay? You are free to choose the concept you will accept of yourself. Therefore, you possess the power of intervention, the power which enables you to alter the course of your future. The process of rising from your present concept to a higher concept of yourself is the means of all true progress. Repeat that. The process of rising from your present concept to a higher concept of yourself is the means of all true progress. The higher concept is waiting for you to incarnate it in the world of experience. Now unto him is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us, unto him be glory. Him that is able to do more than you can ask or think is your imagination, and the power that worketh in us is your attention. Understanding imagination to be him that is able to do all that you ask, and attention to the power by which you create your world, you can now build your ideal world. Imagine yourself to be the ideal you dream of and desire. Remain attentive to this imagined state. And as fast as you completely feel that you're already this ideal, it will manifest itself as reality in your world. Let me repeat that. Remain attentive to this imagined state, and as fast as you completely feel that you're already this ideal, it will manifest itself as reality in your world. He was not in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. The mystery hid from the ages, Christ in you, the hope and glory. The he, in the first of these quotations, is your imagination. As previously explained, there's only one substance. This substance is consciousness. It is your imagination which forms this substance into concepts, which concepts are then manifested as conditions, circumstances, and physical objects. Thus, imagination made your world. This supreme truth, with but few exceptions, man is not conscious of. The mystery, Christ in you, referred to in the second quotation, is your imagination, by which your world is molded. The hope of glory is your awareness of the ability to rise perpetually to higher levels. Christ is not to be found in history nor in external forms. You find Christ only when you become aware of the fact that your imagination is the only redemptive power. When this is discovered, the towers of dogma will have heard the trumpets of truth, and like the walls of Jericho, crumble to dust. Chapter 12, Subjective Control. Your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. All progress, all fulfillment of desire depend upon the control and concentration of your attention. Attention may be either attracted from without or directed from within. Attention is attracted from without when you're consciously occupied with the external impressions of the immediate present. The very lines of this page are attracting your attention from without. Your attention is directed from within when you deliberately choose what you will be preoccupied with mentally. It is obvious that the objective world, your attention is not only attracted by, but is constantly directed to external impressions. But your control in the subjective state is almost non-existent, for in this state, attention is usually the servant, not the master, the passenger, and not the navigator of your world. There is an enormous difference between attention directed objectively and attention directed subjectively. So objective outside, subjective inward. And the capacity to change your future depends on the latter. Your attention directed inward in making your own choices instead of using your five senses. When you're able to control the movements of your attention in the subjective world, you can modify or alter your life as you please. But this control cannot be achieved if you allow your attention to be attracted constantly from without. Each day, set yourself the task of deliberately withdrawing your attention from the objective world and focusing on it subjectively. That's why I recommend at bare minimum that 5 to 15 minutes in the morning and 5 to 15 minutes before you go to bed to do this, and any other times you can find or choose to make throughout your day. In other words, concentrate on those thoughts or moods which you deliberately determine. Then those things that now restrict you will fade and drop away. The day you achieve control of the movements of your attention in the subjective world, your inner world, you are master of your fate. You will no longer accept the dominance of outside conditions or circumstances. You will not accept life on the basis of the world without. Having achieved control of the movements of your attention, and having discovered the mystery hid from the ages, that Christ is in your imagination, you will assert the supremacy of imagination and put all things in subjection to it. All right, and we're going to go do even one more. Acceptance. Man's perceptions are not bounded by organs of perception. He perceives more than sense, though ever so acute, can discover. However much you seem to be living in a material world, you're actually living in a world of imagination. The outer physical events of life are the fruit of forgotten blossom times, results of previous and usually forgotten states of consciousness. They are the ends running true to oft-times forgotten imaginative origins. Whenever you become completely absorbed in an emotional state, you are at that moment assuming the feeling of that state fulfilled. If persisted in, whatsoever you are intensely emotional about will experience in your world. These periods of absorption of concentrated attention are the beginnings of the things you harvest. It is in such moments that you are exercising your creative power, the only creative power there is. At the end of these periods or moments of absorption, you speed from these imaginative states where you've not been physically to where you were physically an instant ago. In these periods, the imagined state is so real that when you return to the objective world and find that it is not the same as the imagined state, it is an actual shock. You have seen something in imagination with such vividness that you now wonder whether the evidence of your senses can now be believed. And like Keats, you ask, was it a vision or a waking dream? Fled is that music, do I wake or sleep? This shock reverses your time sense. By this is meant that instead of your experience resulting from your past, it now becomes the result of being in imagination where you've not yet been physically. In effect, this moves you across a bridge of incident to the physical realization of your imagined state. The man who at will can assume whatever state he pleases has found the keys of the kingdom of heaven. The keys are desire, imagination, and a steady focus, attention on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To such a man, any undesirable objective fact is no longer a reality, and the ardent wish no longer a dream. Prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. The windows of heaven may not be opened and the treasures seized by a strong will, but they open themselves and present their treasure as a free gift, a gift that comes when absorption reaches such a degree that it results in a feeling of complete acceptance. The passage from your present state to the feeling of your wish fulfilled is not across a gap. There is continuity between the so-called real and unreal. The cross from one state to the other, or to cross from one state to the other, you simply extend your feelers, trust your touch, and enter fully into the spirit of that, or spirit of what you're doing, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Assume the spirit, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you will have opened the windows to receive the blessing. To assume a state is to get into the spirit of it. Your triumphs will be a surprise only to those who did not know your hidden passage from the state of longing to the assumption of the wish fulfilled. The Lord of hosts will not respond to your wish until you have assumed the feeling of already being what you want to be. For acceptance is the channel of his action. Acceptance is the Lord of hosts in action. Let me repeat that one. The Lord of hosts will not respond to your wish until you have assumed the feeling of already being what you want to be. For acceptance is the channel of his action. Acceptance is the Lord of hosts in action. Okie dokie. We will. This is going to get fun. You definitely want to come back tomorrow. All right, we are going to pop out a screen share. Hey, welcome, welcome. Looks like we got several people that joined us since we got started, and very happy and grateful and joyful to have you all here with us. Let me see, and we have some new ones. So let me explain really quick what we're doing right now. Now is your time to share. So you can share anything you like related to maybe some successes you've had in manifesting things that you want. Obviously, this group is focused on manifesting more money and wealth. However, if you manifested successfully some other great things and you want to share that, you can. The other thing you can do is share maybe what you learned today, maybe some ahas that you're getting, or something that you've learned in the days past that we've gone through together. The other thing that you could go ahead and do is ask questions. You can ask questions in relationship to what we studied today, what we've studied in the past, or anything related to manifesting more money or wealth in your life. So this is your time. If you want to share, ask questions, All you do is come off mute and start. If two of you jump at the same time, we'll try and figure who went first, but give you both your chance. So, and now is your time. So it's open for your sharing or your questions.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Betsy.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Terrific.
I just wanted to ask you something. I have some grandkids, and is there a book or anything maybe to teach them? I mean, they're like 6 and 8, to teach them the art of manifestation, so maybe they can learn it early
Okay,
instead
again,
of
how old are they again?
6 and 8.
6 and 8. I have a book for you that you can also get on audiobook that
Okay.
actually tells it in an allegory in a story form. And I think you
Okay.
guys would like this too. It's called The Jackrabbit Factor, Why You Can. The Jackrabbit Factor, Why You Can. And the author is Leslie Householder. You could get a free PDF pretty easily because she's given that book away. She's the one who did Hidden Treasures. But the Jackrabbit Factor is an allegory. It takes in story form and walks you through the life of a family of a husband, wife, and a child. And then it goes into the future after they've learned some things, and now the child is in the process of wanting to manifest certain things, and dad's reminding him of the lessons that he learned watching dad learn the process. So yes, very good book for that, in my opinion. And I remember years ago when my daughter was much younger, I had that book. She actually liked it so much, maybe for the story as much as learning law of attraction, that she liked to listen to it as she was going to sleep. So
Sounds great. Okay, thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else with any comments or questions?
Hi, this is Rich.
Hey,
How
Rich.
are you?
Good.
Just a quick comment. Actually, when Betsy was asking her question, I was thinking about the Jackrabbit Factor as far as that goes, which you had presented in something earlier. So that's all I had.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys most of you that are in this group, we started this November 5th of last year. However, Rich and a couple other people that Michael's on here today too, have been part of, and I'm not sure if Kristen made it today or not. Are you here, Kristen? Anyhow, I invited some people from a previous group to come join us now. So that's why Rich knows a little bit about the Jackrabbit Factor. We actually did go through it as a book. Kind of like we've done others right now, but I'm not sure that that's the path we're going to go. But yes, you would probably enjoy it a lot, and it definitely, because it's not as written in such a how-to way and factually, being written in a story, it does help you remember things because of the story, as long as you pick out from the story what's actually going on. All right.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to say something that has to do with like our subconscious.
Uh-huh.
About 3 years ago, I fell. I had a really bad fall, actually. And I had fractured my pelvis in 4 places. And afterwards, okay, well, I always assumed I'd get better. But anyhow, afterwards, I went to a trainer, and then I probably gone to 3 or 4 different doctors who have told me that even if you fracture your pelvis in one place, you're likely to walk with a limp afterwards. Now, I never knew that when I was getting better. So I didn't put it in my frame of mind. You know where I'm going with this, okay? So I just shake when they first said it, I just shook my head and said, well, I don't know. I don't, and now I realize, well, I think part of it was because my subconscious never knew that was an option. So it never even considered it. So voila, it didn't happen. Okay. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Also, I don't know if this is a side or not, but when we bought our house, we put our farm for sale, and it took like 7 years or so to actually sell it. And in the meantime, I was keeping myself busy, so I went for my doctorate. But anyhow, what I want to say is it took us 7 years, right? And I kept saying, God, let's get to the end of this thing, right? And the house we ended up buying was 7 years old. Okay. It's kind of funny. All right. And the first guy had a lot of money and did a lot of things on the inside of the house. Okay. And the second guy also had a fair amount of money, and he kind of really did a lot in the basement. And well, I guess that's it. But when we finally moved in here, I'm waiting 7 years, pensively can't wait, right? I feel like God had planned it all out to get it just the way I want it when the time came. Does that make sense? I
It
don't
does.
know. I feel like
Yeah, it does. It does.
it's
Yeah.
kind of strange, I know, but
Yeah.
it's kind of funny how things happen. I mean, like in retrospect, I was thinking about that, but now I'm thinking about it more since I've been listening to you. Now, yeah, I didn't start back in November when everybody else did. So is there a way we can go back to those things on our
Uh-huh.
own, or?
Yeah. I don't know if you join us each morning at the beginning or you wait a little bit longer, but
Yeah, I usually wait a little.
okay. Well, what we have here, I'll just point it out really quick for those that joined us a moment later. We have a Facebook group. And
Okay.
that group, it's the same name. I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. So you should come join us. And what we do, as long as I remember to hit record, I almost didn't yesterday, but I did. It's rendered. They'll get put in here, and typically the way I try and label them, you can find, it by the date that you missed. So, but all of them from November 15th till now are in here. So if you come join the Facebook group, yes, you can.
Oh, the other thing I was trying, I think you were saying yesterday, if I picked it up right, is that you were saying that Bob Proctor was trying to write with his left hand, even though he's right-handed. So I was messing around
A
with that
different
last
hand,
week.
yeah, whatever his non-dominant. I forget if he's left or right, but his non-dominant hand, yeah. And he was,
Well, as a teacher,
yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead. No,
I was just going to say, as a teacher, I always said my job was to train the brain to learn. And actually, that's what we're doing here. So it's kind of funny that it came back to haunt me.
Awesome.
I think I'm done.
Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Uh-huh.
You
Okay.
can get on YouTube though, because I go through Facebook, and for my Facebook, it won't let me go any further. I try to log in. I try to, in the search, in the search on
Uh-huh.
Facebook, I enter, and it won't let me find
What are you trying to enter into the search?
I can exactly the group's name, but maybe I need to put it no space in between. Maybe then it'll let me find it.
Well, here's what are you in the group or you're still not in the group?
Not on Facebook. I'm on the meetup group in Texas.
Yeah, and and by the way, just so you
No.
guys know, if you're messaging me through Meetup,
Yeah, I was.
I've got 27 meetups.
Oh, honey, I'm so
Do
sorry.
you guys recognize that you're from all over the country?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Right?
so sorry.
So I don't respond to the meetup messages. I funnel you into this. Hopefully you show up, and then once you're here, hopefully you join the Facebook group, and then we can interact. But
I need to figure out how to get in there because it's not letting me get in there.
I'm going to give you a link right now.
Okie dokie.
So if you
Gotcha.
will, yeah, I'm just going to give you the link right now.
Thanks. That makes it easy.
Kevin, you said you had a Facebook group, and what other, you said Twitter?
No, just the Facebook group.
Yeah, that's it. That's the main group.
Yeah, hang on a second, chat.
Okie doke.
I'll put the link in the chat here for you guys for Facebook. Boom.
Boom. Got it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Just make sure you grab it before we close the meeting because
Yeah, I'm grabbing it right now.
okay.
Yay.
All right. Anybody else? Any comments or questions I can help you with?
Hi, Kevin. It's me, Tanya.
Hey,
Hello,
Tanya.
everyone. And I have to believe for all of us that we are all here together with you to share this energy and to become everything that we're supposed to be. Amen. I know this already. And I've had all kinds of successes in my life, and I'm trying to get back into the greater success that I know God wants for me, as well as all of us, for sure. As I'm working on my 300 list, and shout out everyone that's having wonderful time with this, I realize that most of the things that I'm listing are still to be in service to the world, to people, to my family. And I guess my question to you is, am I supposed to be more self-centered than that? You know, am I supposed to really be focused on only my wants and needs? And believe me, I have a lot of wants and needs on there. I like a lot of nice things. But I also find that the core of who I've always been has been so much so to be in service to other people. As we talked in the past, Kevin, I've been taken advantage of because of that. I have made a decision not to have that happen anymore. So that's great. But you understand what I'm saying. I'm in a
Yes,
bit of
totally.
that quandary because, you know, I want to be here to make a difference for not just me, but really for everyone. So could you comment on that a little? And thank you again.
You're very welcome. I'm going to use kind of a slightly extreme example but it's a good one. So Bob Proctor's been teaching people and training people and helping people now for 60 years. He literally has been in the personal development field that long. Okay. And he's been somebody I hired as a coach of my own. And so I've been coached by Bob Proctor. Then I became a coach for his programs, and I'm independent now. I'm still friends with lots of people in his organization, and everything's cool. One thing about Bob is his focus or his love is to serve. When he learned how this stuff works, it became his mission to share it. First of all, what happened to him is somebody in his life, he was losing in every way possible, and things were not going well for him. And it was either age 26 or 27. Somebody came into his life, an authority figure, so to speak. And Bob, by the way, never listened to anybody back then. Anybody with authority, including the military, that told him what to do, he fought it. Okay. He was in the military, and he'd go off and do things he wouldn't do. And whoever was in charge would be like, why did you do that? He'd be like, I don't know. It is. And that's the way Bob was. So it wasn't his nature to do that. But he met a man named Ray Stanford, I believe it was. And this man was successful in just about every way. And he got to know Bob, and Bob got to know him a little bit. And he, basically told Bob, if you want your life to be more like mine, then, do exactly what I tell you to do, until you find out I'm either, I'm wrong or I'm lying to you, and I don't lie to you. So he gave Bob the book, Think and Grow Rich. Now, it's not strictly the book, Think and Grow Rich, that made this work out. Okay. There was a timing. He was ready to learn. He was given the book, Think and Grow Rich, but also he was given things to do by this gentleman, okay, that was successful. And Bob's life turned around. He was earning $4,000 a year at the time. This is how far he goes back, working for a fire department. He owed $6,000. He was $6,000 in debt and was earning $4,000 a year. Okay. So that's where he was sitting when this happened to him. Within about 12 to 18 months, his income had increased to 15 grand a month. Okay. He had a business. It's not the business he chose. He chose to create a business actually doing office floors, and then eventually the entire offices. Within about 3 years after he was at, 15,000 a month, within about 3 years after that, he built it up to where his income was over $1 million a year. And we're talking in the 60s. Okay. So that was a few shekels, right? That's quite a bit of money floating around for Bob. And what happened was Bob could not, even with having been kind of trained a little bit by somebody else, Bob, for the life of him, couldn't explain what happened, how the change came about. So he eventually found Nightingale Conant, and he started listening to a record called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And he played it over and over and over. He was reprogramming himself. That was part of the process that brought him not just Think and Grow Rich, but he was introduced to that record. He listened to it over and over. He was reprogramming himself through repetition. And the reason his business was successful is he forced his employees to listen to the same thing. If they weren't willing to do it, then they couldn't be employed by him. And a lot of those employees reached their goals and made a lot more money. I mean, in today's day and age, if you were employed by me and I told you you had to do this, you'd go cry to the government, and the government would try and shut me down from trying to force you to do something that's going to only help you and make our business more successful. But anyhow, Bob did that. And through the record, he decided he wanted to go work for Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant. So he did that. He found the opportunity to go work together with them, and he sold his cleaning business. It took him a couple of years to sell it off because of how big it was, and it was in multiple countries at that point. So he sold it off to different people in the different countries he was in, and joined the Nightingale Conant Corporation, making $35,000 a year. But he wanted to know what they understood so badly. And that's where he was trained up in the personal development field. And then ever since then, he's made it his mission to share what he learned with the world. Hey, it changed my life so dramatically. That's all I want to do, is share this information with others. Well, you could say, well, share, he could go give it out for free. But he understood, just like Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant, if people don't typically pay a price for something, and it doesn't hurt at least a little bit, make them squirm a little bit, they're probably not going to do anything with it. Okay, let's fast forward to today. Bob Proctor's focus is sharing this with the world. That's his heart, that's his mission. He also has access, I don't think ownership, but at least share ownership of a private jet. It's useful for two reasons. One, he doesn't have to wait, especially during COVID and stuff like that, to get around. He's not traveling as much, but he doesn't have to mess with the airport any longer, because Bob spoke and teaches. Usually he did one-on-one. It was only about 3 years ago that he set up his studio at his house, which, interestingly enough, pre-COVID, right? He was already ready to go. How did he know that? He didn't know COVID was coming, but he's connected with God and the universe, and he wanted to have a worldwide business, which he does now. And he actually has coaches throughout the world that have been trained to do coaching, through his material throughout the world. But the point is, Bob lives in a nice house, but he's been in the same house for, at this point, like 30, 40 years, because he made his first millions earlier on. And he's kind of like Warren Buffett. He likes the one he's in. He's not going anywhere because he likes the one he's in. But he still adds on new things that he wants. And he realizes that because of the person that he is, having more money and buying nice things isn't going to keep him from serving anybody. Matter of fact, it keeps him more motivated to keep serving. The reason that we get either taken advantage of, Tanya, or we have this trouble with it is our programming. Owning stuff doesn't mean lack of serving others. Making money does not mean not serving the world. Making money makes it easier to serve the world, actually.
That's how I look at it. I look at it because when I ask for the abundance, it's really to be able to give back. I'm never just asking for my own selfish purpose.
There's your wrong words.
Okay.
Okay. Let's think about Jesus for a minute. Now, Jesus, when he showed up the first time, he was rejected by most of the world because he didn't show up in all the glory, right? In the wealth and riches and power that he actually does have. He didn't show up that way when he first showed up. I truly believe that when he comes again, he will show up that way, okay? But they were expecting him to show up that way the first time. But you'll know that he's in charge when he comes the next time, okay? It's not going to be, and if you don't believe in that, that's okay. But I'm just saying that God talks, it's talked about that there are mansions and things in the scriptures. And some people think, well, I got to wait till after this life. Well, why? What does a mansion have to do with serving or not serving anybody? The mansion, when we think that we have to put a lot of effort into receiving what we want, especially money and wealth, then we're thinking it's one or the other. I either give my time to help other people or I focus on myself and I'm selfish. time doesn't exist for God in the way it does for us. We can put our focus on having a nice car, a nice home, vacations, whatever it is that we want. And God will use those things that we want to help us give service to the world that will make other people's lives better. And I will say this, I was in the car business many, many, many years ago. I've worked for a Chevy dealer before. I've worked for an Infiniti dealer before. Okay. But I will tell you this, the Infiniti cost more at the time. Okay. And I will tell you this, that eventually, I'm going to kid around a little bit here, but eventually all money ends up at Walmart. What do I mean by that? Okay, what do I mean by that? If a guy or gal goes out and buys a Ferrari, and they pay, believe it or not, because the cheapest Ferraris out there are close to $300,000. That's their cheapie. That $300,000 eventually will end up at Walmart. It just passes through more hands. So when you buy something more expensive, it doesn't mean you're keeping others from being fed. You're actually feeding more people. It just trickles down through more people before it gets to Walmart. I could even go one down below that. I could say it all gets to the dollar store, right?
Kevin, I had
Yeah,
one other thing I want to say about the house thing. I forgot altogether. I didn't know about, the law of attraction or anything.
Yeah.
But we were looking at houses at the time, and my husband had said like a price had to be between this and this. Okay. So I saw this house, and for some reason I would go out doing whatever, and I would end up riding around the block this house is on, right? But I knew it, I felt like it could never be, we could never afford it. Okay. So this went on and on. It was last time we were going to go out and look at houses. Okay. And the realtor said, what houses do you want to go to? And I said, blah and blah. And I want to go to this one, which I'd never even seen before. Right. So we went through, and it was like I thought it might be, right? But it was way more expensive than we could afford. So I said, well, the most I can offer is this. So that's what we offered. And it was $150,000 less than what they were asking, and they accepted it. Now, I know that to you, that doesn't seem like a surprise, but for me, it was a pretty big deal at the time. So I don't know if you call that visualization or not, but I did.
Yeah.
Kind of let somebody know.
Your feeling around the house was one of joy, happiness, and not like freaking out, like I gotta have it or else my life is the end of the world. I want it yesterday, all this other stuff, right? You were just going about having a good time, and you showed appreciation for something. And had you not received it, you probably wouldn't have went home and threw a fit. Right? You'd have said, okay, something else this good or better will come along that suits me. It just so happened that suited you and that fit just right.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. Of course, listening to this now, it doesn't seem as weird.
And that's what Bob, and that's exactly what Bob was doing, right? He was trying to figure out how was I doing this so he could explain to other people. But he did also realize too that if he just gave out the information and didn't charge people, very few people would follow through with anything.
Yeah. That's
and,
unfortunate. Yeah.
And again, the trickle down theory, if Bob coaches somebody personally, usually they're spending, and mine was in a group setting. I spent $30,000 for a group setting where I only got to be on a call with Bob once a month.
Wow.
But it changed me, right?
Yeah, it did what it had to do.
It did what it needed to do, and I've learned what I still a lot more to learn, right? But at the point in time, it was the thing to move me forward to the next level of what I wanted to do. I think some people hold back on that when you're sitting around going, you pretty much know what you want. Or if you're like Ben didn't know what he wanted, but he's within less than a month, he knew what he wanted. He's now well on his way to getting it. And that was in a group coaching setting. So I coach people in group and I coach people one-on-one. And I'm not nearly as expensive as Bob. I will be someday. Okay. Not because of, so I can just go buy more stuff. But Bob understands the trickle down theory. If I help somebody out that's already a multimillionaire do even better, that person's effect and influence on others will trickle down and be even stronger. So he'll help. But one-on-one, I mean, he purposely most of the time tells people, you know what, it's going to be this amount of money for this amount of time. This is all you get, hoping they're going to back off. And occasionally someone says, okay. And he's like, so there was this 21-year-old kid who said, okay. Bob didn't really, he's like, you know, pretty excited. The guy just kept showing up. He was like, all right. And this was years ago, but it's like, it's $250,000 up front, no guarantees. And this is the amount of, this is what you get from me. But the kid had already earned millions of dollars by age 21.
Oh, wow.
He was willing to pay $250,000 to do that. And now he's on his way into the hundreds of millions because he wanted his business to grow. And it's not strictly the money, it's the influence that he has now as a result. So if you do feel that you want to move along faster and money's getting in your way, it will always get in your way. It's the decision that you're going to do it that it'll finally get out of the way. But there are people sitting around going, okay, I'm going to show up Monday through Friday for the next 100 years while Kevin does this. And maybe 5 years from now, I'll hit 100 grand or $1 million when I could help you do it in 3 to 4, 5, 6 months. But, you know, that's up to you. And actually, if you have the attitude, I'll wait for all the free stuff that come, then that's the message you're giving the universe. You know, if you're receiving it that way, you're telling the universe, if all you're looking for is the freebie, then that's kind of what your results will be. Yeah, I'm not saying you get no results, but you don't get the results that you could get if you do what the thing is that you're afraid to go do, which is to step out. But every single person that I've worked with, my feedback from all of them is it was more than worth doing whatever it was at the time, no matter what the amount was that was charged. Because I make sure I never charge more than the person's likely to get back multiple times for whatever it is I'm asking them to do. So yeah, I mean, and at some point I'll ask people to do things and, you know, I'll be like Bob. And I'm not trying to be like Bob. I'm going to be Kevin. Okay. I learned from Bob and others, but what I'm getting at is just the ability for someone to go, okay, you know what? There's a guy right now that actually has won an Emmy, an Oscar, and a Tony. There's 26 people in the entire world that have ever won all three. That person did it being coached by Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor knows nothing about those businesses. The guy makes way more money than Bob does, actually. But Bob knows how the mind works and how to reprogram, and that's exactly what he needed to do. And so the guy has won that plus some others things in other countries for his films, for TV, right? He's done TV, he's done play, and he's done motion picture. Very few people have ever won all of those, but he has. But prior to doing that, he actually lied to Bob. Bob asked him how much he was making at the time. He said 250. He was only made 150 the year before. But over a period of a few years, he won all of those. You think somebody that's won those awards in those categories in those areas don't earn millions and millions of dollars at this point?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Sure they do.
So don't hold back, guys. Don't hold back.
One other, The Strangest Secret, that's a record, that's not a book.
The Secret is a movie and a book.
Oh, and okay.
If you've got Netflix, that's where you'll get a good copy of The Secret, you know, streaming. You could YouTube it and find the one. It's close. It's about an hour and a half, maybe a little longer.
Okay.
You can probably find it. It may not look as pretty. You know what I mean? The movie
It's on YouTube.
I saw first. Yeah. And then what happened is the book was taken. It's almost a transcription of the movie.
Yeah.
That's essentially what the book is a transcription of the movie.
Okay.
Hi, Kevin. This is Takira.
Hi, Takira.
Hi. I just wanted to tell you what's been working for me when I've been utilizing these practices. I've noticed that I was explaining to Tanya to ask for what you want, because you know me, I love to ask for stuff. I want everything. And I really do not feel guilty about it. And I noticed that the more I want, the more I can give back to people subconsciously. Like I just ordered on Walmart Play-Doh kit from my best friend's son, who's 5 years old. And I never would do these things before, but now that I have money consciousness in my brain, I'm like, how can I make somebody else happy today? And then it trickles for them to do the same for somebody else. And I'm not doing it with the intention of like getting something from it. I'm just like, why not? You know what I mean? And then more comes to me. or I'll pray to God to like show me who to bless, or, you know, what resonates with me and what coach to go with and what to do. And even in my business, I'm noticing that I'm becoming like more like, I can't say like professional, but I feel rich. Like I'm subscribing to Forbes now. I'm subscribing to entrepreneur.com. None of this would have happened if my mindset was on, you know, mediocrity. So it's changing me for like the better. And I'm noticing like me having a housekeeper now, which was one of my top 30 things on my 300 list, has come out to fruition. And people are looking at me so funny. So when you said envy in the book, that struck out like, uh-oh, here comes the hate, because they're like, why you got a housekeeper? Who do you think you are? You know, and I just don't know how to block out the haters, because I know that's
you do. Yeah, you do.
I want to not.
No. How? Come on.
Kevin, I have a bad mouth. Like I'm working on my energy with, you know.
I know. So the way to block out the hater, you just need to change your sphere of influence. Now that you're into those things, go hang out with people that already do what you want to do. They'll accept you. They'll accept you as long as you accept you.
Oh, absolutely. But it comes from like my landlord, like not
yeah,
the
but
landlord.
you're not gonna live there forever. And guess what? As long as you're paying rent and his house is clean, who cares?
Yeah, but she made a comment about the stove doesn't work, which is why I want a house. Because I said I'll pay for the fixtures if it's my own property instead of living like a nomad. So she was on the phone with me, kind of rude, and she said,
"Listen to what you said too."
What?
Okay.
What?
You basically told her your house is a cave.
That's the way they're making me feel by not fixing.
No. That's the way you're allowing yourself to feel about what's happening. You have created your situation. And every time you want to disagree and fight about that, you're only disempowering yourself. When you realize that your assumptions about life become so assume the best, assume a difference. And when things aren't going correctly, I love how Esther Hicks puts it. She says, you pivot. If I don't want this, then that automatically tells me what I do want.
I want a new stove.
Okay.
So how do I get my new stove? Stay focused on that.
Imagine yourself with a new stove, using it, feeling good about it. And don't worry about how it shows up. And either she or he or whoever landlord will get you the new stove, or something will happen that will get you into a better place that has a new stove.
Win-win for me.
Exactly.
That's all.
Did you write that down, Takira? Did you write that down on your list?
It's in my memory box, Paula.
Okay, I got a list. I'm gutting this house, girl. This house needs help. I'm gutting it, getting all my new everything. I'm sorry, I'm probably
with that too, Kevin. I always, with the house, I picture me playing basketball on the court, even though I can't play basketball. But I picture it, me and my husband and our kid, you know, shooting hoops, or I'll go in the back and. No, I'm not married, so I don't have no kids yet. When I get the ring, I'll have some babies. But no, right now, no.
Too old for babies, but I'm not too old to get married.
Hey, honey, he's
out
guys,
there. Okay.
He is.
Hey.
But anyway, that's the next part of Bob Proctor's dreaming about them. Yeah, he had a little thing on that too.
All right.
Kevin, sorry. Thank you, Kevin. You're the best.
No, it's great. I'm dreaming about my house, boy. I've got that listed and new appliances, everything. It's great.
All right. Hey guys, I actually have somewhere.
Are we going to quit now?
We are.
Oh,
be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
I think we need a group just after group talk.
Thank you, Kevin. Have a good day, Paula. Goodbye.
Yeah, honey, you too. Take care. I love talking to you.
Thank you.